welcome. Today we're gonna do the gnocchi dish. I'll show you how to make our gnocchi first, and then we're gonna braise the osso buco. So first off, gnocchi is gonna be performed by Vivek. So here in this beautiful bucket, we've got potatoes that have been cooked to perfection. So you want to cook your potatoes fully, but not overcook them, because you still need that starch that's into the potato to link your gnocchi mix. So, and after that, it's been moulied with a potato vegetable mouli to create that really fine potato. And here we got a big bowl full of, we've got flour, parmesan. We're gonna need 2 eggs for this recipe and 44 grams of salt. The secret behind gnocchi is the temperature of your mix, how your potato is cooked, and how you work it. So you don't want to work it too much because you don't want to over stimulate the gluten, but you want it to stimulate it again that it sticks together. So gluten is basically like viscoelastic system of protein that's in many grains. There is some gluten in that type of flour, so you don't want to overwork it, but you want to activate it. So it's a fine line between overworking it and not working it enough. So see here, you have like a nice firm ball, but it's not elastic. So it's very workable, very nicely workable, but it's not overworked, which is exactly what you want. The bench and the mix, and that's going to help you. Well, it's going to help the mix not to stick to the bench, obviously. And then to work your gnocchi, you want to have like it's like a balance of dry, wet, stick, and not stick, and you got to play with it. Because as you stretch your mix, it'll dry out, but then because it's gonna absorb that semolina. So you want it to absorb enough that it rolls, but not too much that it slides. Because you want to roll it. You don't want to push it. You want it to actually roll, so that you have like a nice cylinder that you cut into beautiful little pillows. You know. Whereas if you don't put enough, it'll stick to the bench and it'll be a mess. And if you put too much, you won't be able to roll it. It'll just slide. And like stretch your fingers, which will stretch the dough. And as it becomes longer, it'll become thinner until you work out to be the perfect size cylinder. And after that, you can cut it to a perfect size. And it's important to cut them evenly so that when you boil them, when you blanch them, they're going to cook evenly. Alrighty, so next step, we're going to braise the osso buco. Here we got a full shin. I just wanted to demonstrate, like, this is actually a part of the animal, so this is the bottom part of the leg, and it's a muscle that works a lot. Therefore, it is really tough. So we'll need to cook it for a long time to loosen up all the fibers. I'm gonna take maybe the middle part just to show you guys. Obviously, I will braise a whole lot later. I just want to show you a little sample. So what we do here is we take the bone marrow, which is in the middle of the bone, and we set it aside, because that's going to be our one of our emulsifying agents for the sauce at the end. So basically what we're going to do is we take the marrow, and when it's really cold, we dice it up and we saute it really quick just to cook it off. And then we're going to mix it with butter to stabilize it, and then we're just going to smoke that butter to give a nice smoky flavor, and that's going to be our emulsifying agent at the end for our sauce. So now we're just going to saute the osso buco. So the shin has been cut about 1 inch and a half to help the braising. So that way it's going to stay together and braise nicely. So I'll just put some olive oil that we're going to heat up really high until it starts to have a little bit of smoke coming out of it. Next up, you want to season your meat thoroughly, because the salt is going to help to dry the meat, and it's going to help you to create a really nice crust. So you want to be generous in salt on both sides. So now our oil is very, very hot. We're going to put the side meat. Put it on very high temperature. But as you cook, it will create a crust that will liberate the meat from the bottom. And for the sauce, I've prepared a little this is our aromatic here. So it's basically a normal mirepoix, which is onion, celery, carrot. Basic aromatic is like some thyme, rosemary, garlic, and bay leaves. And we're gonna braise it in tomato, in crushed tomato. Maybe as we wait, I'm gonna show you how we do the butter as well. Not too big, not too small, just so that it doesn't render all its fat at once. And then you just want to saute it really, really quick. Dry, because there's a very high fat content in there, so you don't need any oil or anything. Just want to cook it out quickly. That's it. Now we've nicely colored both sides of our osso buco. I'm going to separate in a dish in which we're going to braise it in. Get rid of the fat. And then you just want to heat up your pan really, really high. Because we're about to deglaze, which is one of my favorite words. We're going to deglaze the pan with a bit of red wine. But you don't want any oil in there because it's hot oil and liquid don't really like each other. So that's perfect. So we just cook out the marrow a little bit and then we're just going to cool it down. So we're just going to deglaze. What that's going to do is like all the really nice brown bits that's stuck to the bottom of the plate, it's just going to lift everything up. So you really want to lift up all those bits that are stuck to the bottom of the pan. There we go. So now the pan should be like nice and clean. So all that nice flavor is now into the wine. So we're just going to reduce it slightly. And after that we're going to add it to our osso buco. Add some tomatoes. So basically you just want to cover your meat so that it starts braising nicely into the liquid. Then our tomato scraps in there as well. And our vino. Now the meat is nicely covered. And in the same pan, we're just going to saute up our mirepoix, which is our basic aromats that we're going to cook. It's like an exchange of flavor. The meat's going to give flavor to the veggies is going to give flavor to the meat, and the veggies will stay in the sauce, so that's going to give like a flavor profile to our sauce. And those aromats, I'm not going to saute everything. I'm just going to put the garlic at the end when we're ready. And aromats like bay leaf, I'm not going to saute because it's already dried. I don't want to burn them. So even the rosemary, garlic and thyme, I'm just going to put it at the very end in our pan. So you want to saute them, not too much color, but you want to go get all the remaining flavors that was left from the meat into the pan. And once it's slightly cooked down, we're just going to add it to that sauce, cover it up, and that's going to be our braising dish. And you just want your meat to be submerged. And then we're just going to cover that. And swing that into the oven. So that's going to cook at like 200 degrees for about 4 to 5 hours. Our bone marrow is now cooled down enough that we can mix it with the butter. It's not cold like a brick, but it's cold enough that we can mix it without splitting the butter. So we're going to add about That's about 200 grams of butter. So we're just gonna mix that up and bash the marrow a little bit so that it breaks down into our butter. And the butter is just gonna help, like, it's gonna surround the marrow and keep it stable. That's pretty much what you want. Nice pinch of salt. So now we're gonna smoke the butter with this beautiful device. And then I've cling wrapped the bowl. I've just let one loose end, so when it starts smoking, I'm just gonna introduce the tube. I leave the smoke in there for about 10 minutes. Turn it on. Just gonna trap the smoke in there. Leave that for 10 minutes. It's gonna be our smoked marrow butter to emulsify the sauce. Now we're gonna cook. Once our beautiful gnocchi are made and our osso buco is braised down, we're gonna cook our actual pasta. So we're gonna bring out the water from the chili, the garlic, and the leek to infuse the butter to bring even more flavor. And as we do so, we're just gonna cook our gnocchis. It takes about 4 to 5 minutes to cook our gnocchis. So we got time to cook our sauce. So a nice amount of butter in there. Chili, garlic, and the leek are basic aromats to add to the aromats of our sauce. So you want to stop your sweating right before coloration. So that way all the water is, all the sweet little water from the veggies are out. But you don't want to color them because that's going to create a lot of bitterness. Especially garlic, when it's overcooked, when it's brown, it's very overpowering, and that's all you're going to taste in your sauce. And you braise your meat so nicely that you don't want it to be overpowered by the overcooked garlic. I'm just going to start the sweating with a bit of the vegetable stock. Our meat that's been already braised, picked, in which we've added our tomato sugo in there. Add a little bit of sauce. And how you know that your gnocchi is cooked is when it starts to float. So that's why the process of cutting them the same size, that's where it all matters now. There you go, it's time to float now. At this point, I'm going to add a little bit of parmesan just to fold through the pasta. Give a bit of richness. Just want to melt it slowly. Just going to taste the seasoning as well. And now our gnocchis are floating. So we're just going to add them to the sauce. And don't be scared to add a bit of cooking water from the pasta because that holds a bit of starch and it really helps to emulsify the sauce. Parsley. And just a smidge of our smoked butter. And you just want to emulsify this slowly. There's quite a high content of fat in this sauce, so you want to have enough liquid for it to be really nice and silky. You need enough of that moisture to really emulsify that sauce, make it nice and glossy. It's ready to go. Final testing of the seasoning. And we're ready to plate it up. And then we're garnish it with our mountain aged pecorino and green Gouda sauce, which is made with parsley, mint, some capers, some really nice anchovies, lemon zest. Bit everywhere. This is nice acidity that's going to help cut through the whole dish as well. There you go. Gnocchi allo sugo. Buon appetito!